Sentire Media.
Welcome to the Stop Italian Sounding podcast, uncovering authentic Italian food. I'm your host, Robert Campana, and join me as we delve into the rich heritage of genuine Italian food, exploring its legends, history, and traditions. Through important tips and insightful interviews with industry professionals, you'll gain a deeper understanding of authentic Italian food. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stop Italian Sounding show, uncovering authentic Italian food. So, you know that my mission, of course, is to help you find authentic Italian products, whether that comes in a form of you food shopping, finding an authentic Italian restaurant outside of Italy, or finding an Italian specialty store. Well, for today's show, we have a special guest that prides himself on bringing Italy to you. Valerio Di Falco was born in Catania, Sicily, and arrived in the U.S. in 2012. He's held various jobs throughout his life, but his enduring passion has always been food and hospitality. Upon arriving in the U.S., Valerio began working for a famous Italian restaurant group, Bice. Starting at the bottom, he quickly rose to a managerial position where he spent 7 years. Following his time in the restaurant industry, he decided to pursue another passion, photography. He founded Animamu, a marketing and photography company where he photographs private chefs. As Animamu grew, Valerio's love for food also continued to grow. And during the COVID pandemic, with his parents joining him from Italy, he collaborated with them to establish Mercato Italiano. His venture represents a modern interpretation of an Italian market in deli. With Mercato Italiano, he's trying to show Americans that Italy is not fettuccine alfredo and spaghetti with meatballs, but instead a big variety of cuisines that changes from one town to another. At Mercato Italiano, you could buy groceries while you're drinking a glass of Italian wine, for example, or eating specialties, and of course, hearing people speak Italian. In other words, at Mercato Italiano, he tries to make his guests feel as though he or she is in Italy. Valerio, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Robert, to having me.
I'm looking forward to having this conversation. I think it's going to be quite an interesting one. So, Valerio, if you could just take a minute and, kind of talk about your journey, who you are, what led you through this path. So your journey, of course, you said you're from Catania. So from Catania to the U.S., it's been, I would assume, quite diverse. So how did your Sicilian roots, let's just say, influence your passion for food and hospitality, especially as you settled here in the United States?
Yes, Robert. Good morning. So Catania is not a small town. It's a big city in Italy, where many cultures go there and then discover the city. So I met lots of people for foreign from USA, Germans, English. So when I was growing up, I see maybe I need to discover all the world, and that's why I decided to go to US. But I go to US because some part of my family was there already, so I decided to go to US. But I always have this feeling to leave Catania to discover the world. But I had Catania in my heart, so it's still now I miss Catania. So I try to take all the culture from Catania to another country. In Catania, I was doing a lots of jobs because I like try everything in my life. So I was a fireman, and then had a company, marketing company, and I was working in some restaurant. So because I always had a passion for the food. Plus, in Catania, the food is it's the basic. It's like you literally can eat 24 hours in Catania, from the morning until the other morning. And when you wake up in the morning and you smell at a.m., your mom, your grandmother make the sauce. You make me feel you that your life is gonna be into the food.
Of course.
That's what it is.
And it's not a bad thing. So you've been constantly exposed to food. And what is one thing from Catania? I guess this is a difficult question. One thing from Catania that really represents the city, in your opinion, when it comes to food?
Oh, the food.
Yes.
Well, I think the arancini. That's the rice ball. It's the most popular food in Catania, or pasta alla norma. That's a typical pasta with just tomato sauce and fry eggplants and some cheese on top. It's simple, but that's remind me Catania actually. Yeah, the pasta.
And that's one thing that really characterizes, I would say, not just Sicilian food but Italian food in general. You hit the nail on the head. Simplicity, okay, simple but high quality ingredients that really make the dish delicious. Like you were just saying, pasta alla norma, for example, simple yet very good. Um, so when you arrived to the United States, you mentioned that you spent some time with Bice, correct? The restaurant. So how did that influence? Could you tell us about that experience and specifically how it influences what you do now?
Yeah. So when I came here, I started right away with the visa to work in this restaurant. It's a big company that they have actually a restaurant in Milan too. So my brother was involved to the company and say he proposed me to start as a server, actually as a full runner. We started as a full runner, and then he became server. So they are good in the details, and that's teach me how to treat people. You know, the care and the details is very important in the hospitality. So be a server, and then I became a manager. So I learned how serve people and sell products, and how manage numbers. So that's like creating me a passion to recreate a little restaurant shop in the future, and that's how Mercato Italiano comes.
Absolutely, which we will definitely talk about Mercato Italiano, which is the focus point, of course, of today's show. But I just wanted to kind of understand your journey to Mercato Italiano. So coming from Catania, working with Bice, and then also um, founding a company called Animamo, correct? Am I right about that?
Yes, because in Italy, as I mentioned before, was I had a marketing company and was a photographer too. So I always had a passion for the photography. And when I was working beaches, some chef heard that there was a photography. They invite me to take some picture of the food. So taking picture of their food, I zoom on the food, and so it created me, an award where I thought, okay, I want to recreate this kind of food. The color, the smell. So the photography helped me a lot to make me think to open a Mercato Italiano.
Okay, all right. So the photo and is that still functioning right now? Is that still up
Oh
and
yeah,
running? The company?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Now
so
I'm
you're
not into food photography anymore. I'm in real estate because food photography is it takes too much time. You need to stay like 2 3 hours with just one dish sometimes. But in the real
oh
estate,
really?
it's easy. In 1 hour, you can do 2 3 houses, so it's easier. But still do it, and I do by myself. I don't have employees in marketing, because it's very hard to find somebody like you. You can find somebody better than you, but not like you. That
Right,
has
exactly.
your vision.
Exactly. If you're an artisan in whatever you do, you want to make sure you do it yourself because you know it's going to get done the correct way. But you mentioned that when you were photographing food, it could take 2 or 3 hours. Is that what you said?
Yes, correct.
Oh, how was that? In what sense?
Because chef is an art in cook, but sometimes it's not an art to create the photos. So I need to buy objects to the environment, the picture, put a picture in a certain location, and then you need to fix the lights, and then the chef say no, I don't like this one. So sometimes really 2 3 hours depends what kind of goal you have on this the purpose. If you need to take a picture for a magazine, you need to have a picture perfect, not that.
Absolutely. And if you want to do things right, you have to make sure that you have all the right lighting, right positioning, everybody's happy. Yeah. So it's not just snapping a picture and moving on. Of course, obviously, if you want to do it in the right way.
All of my
So,
picture went to a magazine like a national magazine.
oh, like which ones?
I remember was some of the locals Gulf Shore Life. My one was I don't remember exactly the name, but it was like 12 years ago. But the chef showed me that there was. I didn't know there was for this magazine. He showed me because I was talking about his, and then it's a chef in the Hyde. I remember, and he
Wow.
showed, your picture went in this magazine. So I was proud of myself.
Hey, wow. Yes. Complimenti. That's great.
The
That's
good thing
awesome.
is that I never went to a school. So I learned by myself.
Oh, it
Light,
was all self-taught.
yeah, lightening, how the camera works, all lenses. I learned by myself.
Well, it just goes that a passion is the best driver for someone to learn anything, you know?
Yes,
So,
correct.
speaking of passion, tell us about your journey of Mercato Italiano, because you said you found it during the COVID pandemic. So, how did this idea come about, and what were some of the, let's just say, some of the challenges you faced in bringing this Italian market and deli to life?
Yeah. So while I think US is a great country, I mean, at least on the location where I am, in Naples, Florida, is not great in food. I meant there is no grocery store where you can find gourmet products. So and I was because I like to cook for my family. So I always have, oh my god, there's nothing here that you can create the food that it was in Sicily. So I always, my mind say, I want to import products. I want to import products and show people what is in Italy. So during the pandemic, I was, of course, everybody in the house doing nothing. And my parents were here in vacation. And then Italy was so bad at the time, no, not like here. So me and my brothers, we decided to let them stay here. So even if they are not in a young age, they're still young. So they say, "Hey, yeah, but here, what are we gonna do it? We have nothing to do. So why we don't open a bakery? Because my mom makes the cookies so good. My dad too. They cooks very well. So and then I start to check location, and then I saw this one in downtown Naples and say, this can be good. So, and we started right away during the COVID. Nobody was in the street, and then I was just try to see the future.
Awesome. So it
Yeah.
started as a bakery. Is that my understanding?
Yes, a bakery. Just a few things like cookies, some croissant, and then
Okay.
of course a market because I was using the products I was imported.
Okay. So how long did it take you to get up and running, to start? So you started during the pandemic, and how long before I guess you started selling things? Must have taken a while, I'm assuming.
Well, start 2021 to build the place was fast because I study as an engineer, so I
Okay.
have in my mind the concept, and then my father helped me a lot to design the whole Mercato Italiano, and then we opened 2021 on June, okay, and the first day was already people comes just curious to see what Mercato Italiano is,
Wow.
So
Yes.
I choose Mercato Italiano like because I wanna recreate this one in different locations. So Mercato Italiano is a simple name, it's
Yes.
to remember. That's why I call Mercato Italiano because I have a lot of names, but Mercato Italiano I think it was the simple one.
No, it's a great name, Mercato Italiano, Italian market in English. I mean, it's just, I mean, it just kind of sums up what people are looking for. So
It's
Mercato
funny.
Italiano,
It's funny because here in Naples, there is a area called Mercato. So all people think that Mercato Italiano is in Mercato. You know what I mean? So I'd say, man, no. Imagine if I was Spanish Mercato. You think I was in Spain? No, Mercato Italiano means Italian market. So I have a location. You can check on Google and internet. But it's funny when they say, "Are you in Mercato?" You know what I mean? So it's
Exactly. No, it's funny you say that because of course, my brother and my sister-in-law, they live in Naples, and sometimes I would say we're in Mercato, and I would be confused. Are you referring to the Mercato Italiano or the actual place?
yeah, yeah.
So it would, because obviously I'm not from Florida. I live in New Jersey, so my Floridian geography is quite ignorant, if you will. Um, but about your store, Mercato Italiano, obviously it aims to showcase the diversity in Italian cuisine because, like we mentioned before, Italian cuisine is in fettuccine alfredo and spaghetti and meatballs. Obviously, it's much more diverse from city to city, if you will. Um, so, can you describe some of the regional specialties or lesser known dishes that you that you have and that you're excited for Americans to discover through your market?
Another goal I have in my life is to write a book What? Because I was when I was a surveying beach, many customers from US, from around the world, ask me, "Do you have a fettuccine alfredo?" I said no. So you are no Italian restaurant, and I was laughing, of course. Or an other dish like a chicken scarpariello or spaghetti with meatballs. I never I never ate this kind of dishes in Italy. So I'm trying to, even if it's harder, because you need to sell and make money. It's hard to let the people understand what's the real Italian food. Oh, in Mercato Italiano, I don't have Italian American items. I have all Italian. Actually, I'm trying to recreate a special bakery in Catania where all my pastry. And then it's working because the people ask me, what is it, this one? So I explain them and say, oh, wow, let me try. And when they try, they say, oh my God, this is like in Italy. And then it make me feel proud.
Yes, yes. No, that's a great thing to hear, because obviously, me and my mission with Stop Italian Sounding is, of course, to bring authentic Italian products to the American consumer and also to teach them about the real versus the Italian sounding products. And Mercato Italiano is definitely an area where you could get the real deal, the real stuff, the real experience.
Yeah, yeah. So everything comes from Italy. So, example, I don't know if you ever heard about the tavola calda.
Yes.
Tavola calda, okay, yeah, because you are Italian too. Say in Catania, tavola calda is it's very common. Uh, yes, so you
Could
can
you
go.
explain? Could you
Yes,
explain to our listeners what is
yeah, tavola
tavola
calda
calda?
means in English is a hot table. So it means that you can find the items warm and eat right away. And you can eat this one as a breakfast, as a lunch, as a snack. So there are small things. So the most famous they have in Mercato it's a cipollina. That's mean a little onion because it's like a puff pastry with lots of onions, but caramelized onions, ham and mozzarella, and baked, of course. So it's a crispy, sweet, sour, and it's an explosion of flavor in your mouth. That's really, really good. It's really, really good. So this is the most sales so far.
Sounds good. Mi viene l'acquolina in bocca, as we say in Italian.
Yeah, no,
uh, so what are other things that you have in the tavola calda? Just I want to try and paint a picture of Mercato Italiano.
I mentioned before the arancini rice ball. Yeah, I create like different flavors of arancini. It's dependent because Mercato Italiano is not a classic restaurant. It's a more a house. So I wake up in the morning and say, today I feel I want to make arancini with with the truffle or with the mixed sauce. So and then I go there, I cook the rice, and I cut the mozzarella, I make the sauce, and I create. So the arancino, it's a good things too, and I make different sides so people can have as a snack, as a lunch, as a meal, And also, I make the Sicilian pizza. That's different than other pizza because it's a little thicker and
So,
crispy.
so are you referring to the sfincione?
In Sicily, in Italy, even a town that are like 10 kilometers far each other, they're different. Example, Sfincione, I never heard this one when I was in Sicily because it's from Palermo. In Catania, Sfincione is something else. It's something with the rice, sweet, and sugar. Yes, in Catania, this kind of pizza we call pizza taglio. That's because we cut the pizza. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay. I
Yeah,
guess that would make sense because last November I was in Western Sicily, the Palermo side. I was in Sciacca. Yes, it's Sfincione is what the okay. So that was I thought it was generically all known
no,
throughout
no, no,
the
no.
entire Sicily.
But it's very similar. Very similar. Sfincione is very similar to this kind of pizza I'm talking about it.
And how is it
Even
made? What do you typically put on top?
well, usually just tomato sauce, cheese, eggs, and ham. That's in my classic recipe. Yeah, yeah. Because eggs, why? Because you can have as a breakfast. Try it. Breakfast with
Ah,
pizza is the best.
interesting. So you have a
Of course. Don't drink cappuccino when you eat the pizza in the breakfast.
right. So is it typical to have a sweet or a savory breakfast in Catania?
Both, both,
Both.
both. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So there's
understood.
no difference.
So what are some other kind of paint a picture? If I walk into Mercato Italiano, what am I going to be able to? You just talked about the tavola calda. What am I going to be able to purchase and to experience?
Well, I'm talking about savory, but also I have a sweets. So I have a classic cannoli. I feel fresh, and I imported the ricotta from a little town, Castelbuono in Palermo, where the best ricotta is. Because the ricotta has to be sheep ricotta, no cow
Yes,
ricotta. Otherwise, there is no, the classic, cannolo. Even the shells I imported from Sicily directly. So these ones, the cookies that was mentioned, my mom make almond flour cookie. That's you guys call amaretto, I guess. And then this I sell a lot. But also I have like a. So I'm trying. Don't be just Sicilian, be Italian. So I have a baba. That's it's origin from Napoli. I have the gianduiotti. That's like a little chocolate that comes from Torino. I have the gelato, but I don't make the gelato. I have a partner that's another company in Naples, but they're Italian. So when I taste this gelato, I say I want to have your gelato in my place because with gelato I make other things. Example, I make baba with the gelato. So baba it's a sponge cake with the lots of rum, so it's like a little soft. So I make with the gelato inside. So good. I make the
delicious.
affogato. I make the affogato.
Oh
It's
wow,
like you know what affogato is, right? So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a gelato with the coffee.
Yes, yes. Wow, so good. And what I like about your place is that it's a direct representation of Italy. So I guess one thing that I typically miss when it comes to Italy is walking down the street and walking into a bar, getting a coffee, talking for a little bit, and then leaving. Now I'm assuming that that's the same experience you could have also with Mercato Italiano as well. Walk in, have a coffee, the typical fare due chiacchiere with a
Yes.
friend. Correct?
So when you enter in Italiano, you always find somebody who speaks Italian. Because I have lots of friends. They come to my place to have a coffee. Because I use like authentic coffee from Italy, Vergnano. That's for me is the best. And so just that they have a coffee and talk. We talk about football, like soccer. Where we talk about vacation. So when people say, "Oh, I feel I'm in Italy," but that's
That's a compliment.
made me laugh because that's indirectly was my goal. So because I wanna when the people come to my place and ask, "Can I have a sandwich to go?" I say, "Why?" Say, "Why? Where are you going?" I'm going home. So why are you going home? Why don't you stay here and enjoy your sandwich here and maybe talk with me? Or so okay, let me try. And then at the end they say, "You know why? You made my day because I was going maybe my house alone and eat the sandwich, but here it's different. Because you eat not just with the mouth, you eat with the ear, with the eye,
Exactly.
and that's Mercato Italiano.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And what has been the reaction of the people? So I'm assuming most of your clients are not Italian, they're American, I would assume, or other. So what has specifically been the reaction to the authenticity, let's just say, of your place? And have you ever gotten requests for, oh, you don't have, I don't know, fettuccine alfredo, or and of course not to talk bad about that, because Italian American cuisine is separate than Italian cuisine, both of course to be 100% respected. But one of your objectives of course is to teach. So have you ever gotten comments like, oh, you don't have this, you don't have that, and then you have to teach them? What do you what could you
Yes,
say?
yes, many times. Don't take me wrong. For me, American Italian cuisine is really good. Sometimes I like to eat some fettuccine alfredo because they're very
Yes, no, of course, I
famous.
agree.
But you can eat the fettuccine alfredo somewhere else. So in my place, I try to let people try different things. So since I sell wines too, because in 2003, sorry, 2003, I get the sommelier agreement. Uh, so I have a passion for the wine too. So I try to create events where people can taste the wine and food. So my wine dinner, and it's becoming cool in my place. People ask me when we gonna do the new next wine dinner. So I have it in waiting list. So on a wine dinner, they can see a pairing of food and wine. Depends on location. So if I have a wine from Piemonte, I'm trying to make food from Piemonte.
Of
So
course.
like a fettuccine with the truffle, the sample. That, or if you go to Campania now, I have the Campania on, this weekend. I'm gonna have a gnocchi alla sorrentina, and so people say, yeah, but this dish it's different than what I used to eat in a, in some other Italian restaurant. And actually, they say, when I was in Positano, I used to eat this one. Okay, ma'am, don't worry. Give me 5 minutes. Let me try if I can make for you. Because since I have all products, I can cook whatever I want. So I check on my shelf and say, okay, I have this one, I have this one. Hey, give me 10 minutes, I'll cook for you. And, except carbonara, example. Carbonara is a simple dish from Rome. So I imported the guanciale, that's like bacon, but from the chicks or the pig. And I imported the pecorino romano. So I have the ingredients. I'm not a chef. I'm just have a passion for the food. But
Okay.
in Italy, all men and women since has a passion, they know how to cook. Because in Italy, we don't just feed ourselves; we taste the food, so we know what food is.
Yes, food is more than just filling your stomach when you're hungry.
Correct,
It's
correct,
enjoy.
correct,
It's
correct.
sitting down. It's enjoying. The company as well. I didn't know that you do wine dinners. So would you recount the story of the wine and then pair it with foods? Do you have a sommelier that actually talks about those wines?
I have a vintner. Sometimes he comes here from a special winery in Italy, and then it's a they talk about the wine. But sometimes I do on my own because I have a knowledge of wine, and I don't know if it's good things or bad things. People ask, Valerio is there? If Valerio is there, we come. If he's not there, sorry, but we are not come. So, people can't go to Mercato just because sometimes talk with
Because
me.
yes, yes. Well, that means you establish a friendly environment, which is part of your
Yeah,
goal.
I like talk, as you can see, because on my jobs I did in my life, I was always an entertainer in resorts. The animator of people. So I like a show. You like make show.
That's
That's
good.
also, yeah. They say, it was good for my business too, because I'm not shy.
Right. Well,
Uh,
especially in the food business and
no, you don't have
owning
to
a
be.
store, you can't be shy. You have to
No,
interact
no,
with the people.
no,
You have to
no, because
develop those
also
relationships.
customer care is very important in all the world, but in US is more important. I don't know why. So you need to know how treat people. So when people complain about something, you need to know how fix that.
Yes.
And then that's it's very hard. But so far, it's I know always I get 5 stars. So thank God.
That's great. That's great. And you're getting that obviously for good reason. So real quick question about your wine. How many labels do you have?
Oh, if I can't, maybe 50 labels.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a wine all the Italy. From south to north, Sardinia. So many wine, and then not famous wine, but good wine. So every wine I have in my shop, I taste it. It's okay. This is good. You get it's gonna be in my shop.
What is one wine in your opinion that doesn't get much? It's more of an underrated wine. Doesn't really get much attention, but you believe should get attention.
Believe me, the wine is like the fashion. Is a trend. So a couple years ago, the trend was Merlot. Everybody asked for Merlot, and then Cabernet Sauvignon, and then Montepulciano. I see that in a couple years, Nero d'Avola, it's becoming a little popular. So people ask me, "You have a good Nero d'Avola?" So I say, "Yes, I do have a Nero d'Avola." Like 5, 6 years ago, nobody knows a Nero d'Avola.
Right.
Now maybe because Sicily is growing as a tourism, so people taste there and say, "I want to have the year." It's not good things that here to be in US you had to use the sulfate. In Italy we don't use sulfate, so and the taste of the wine is a little different. But that's things that we cannot change because it's a
Right.
law.
Right. That's the law. You can't control it. But yeah, it's very interesting. You mentioned Nero d'Avola. I believe it is an up and coming wine that people are going to start to explore. You're not the first one that has mentioned that when I've asked that question. Um, But when it comes to your passions, you clearly have a passion with food, hospitality, even photography that you mentioned. Obviously, all that must require a lot of creativity and energy. So, how do you manage to stay, let's just say, inspired or innovative across all of these things across the food, hospitality, and photography?
I'm always positive in my life. I always have a good humor. I never wake up angry or mad. Plus, last year I had the best, gift that God can give to a man. So I had the son.
Oh, wow!
If I'm
Congratulations!
47, but I had the first son. So, you know,
Congratulations! That's great.
thank you. And then with him and my wife helped me a lot. So I always have, a good humor, so or good vibe during the day. That's it. Give you lots of energy because you wake up with the energy that you wanna break the world, but in a good way, of course. But still, I don't wanna put on the side the marketing. I still wanna do it. I still want to do Mercato. If somebody proposes me another job, I always listen because I wanna stop. I'm still young.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So positivity is something that keeps you going, and it's really a real driver to link these passions together. So looking forward, looking to the future, what are your aspirations for Mercato Italiano? So are there any new projects or expansions on the horizon that you're excited to share?
Yeah. So when you build a construction, you need to have a good base. So I want to have Mercato Italiano, the first one, very established, and then open another one maybe, and then see how it goes. And if it goes well, I want another one. I don't want to be a chain. I don't like a big group. I want to have maybe 10. Yeah, but I don't know. Let's see. It's not easy, but the challenge is give you more positivity.
Yes, exactly. So a good challenge would give you also a higher satisfaction, but then you want to replicate, of course, the same friendly feeling that people get when they walk in. Like you said, your greatest satisfaction is when somebody says, "Wow, I feel like I'm in Italy." So you kind of don't want to.
I want to mention also something that many chef, private chef, comes to my place and look for gourmet. And that's good because it's usually chefs don't go to a grocery store to buy food. They have the vendor, they have a supplier, and they come say, "You have like botarga." Example, botarga is like Mueller raw eggs, no? And they say, "Oh, of course I have." So you have everything.
Oh, you have that.
Yeah, of course I have a botarga. Yeah,
Oh,
botarga,
wow.
truffle, other things. I have a fregola. That's another pasta from Sardinia that everyone doesn't know. So yeah, I'm
You
trying to have
mentioned
it.
truffles as well before.
Oh, I love truffle. I import truffle directly from Italy.
From where? Can I ask where do you import them from?
Yeah,
Like
of
what
course,
area? Where
of
from
course, yes.
Alba?
Yeah. Truffle is not just one type. There's many types of truffle.
Right.
So there is like the lo scorzone. That's the summer truffle that comes from Umbria. And then the Perigord, that's a French, comes from the border from Italy to French. And then all the white, that white is only 2 3 months, comes from Alba or from Tuscany, and that's the most expensive.
Exactly, that is quite expensive. But I mean, if you're talking about quality, I mean, you don't use an entire truffle in a dish. You do a few shavings, and that's it. But you mentioned in terms of your future projects to expanding possibly Mercato Italiano. Now, would you expand hypothetically just in Florida because you're located in Naples, Florida, or would you expand outside of Florida, such as New Jersey, for example, where I'm located?
Well, I don't want to be in just United States. Mercatino can be in Madrid, can be in
Okay,
Tokyo. That's why Mercato Italiano, it's a very simple and common name. Of course, maybe I'm thinking too big, but you need to think big because otherwise, you put your limit. I don't like limits.
absolutely, you have to think big. No, no, you're correct. Yes, and no limits. The world is the limit, if you will, not even beyond. No, and I wish you the best in that, because what you're doing something is truly remarkable. So I
Yeah.
wish you the best in that endeavor. So in your experience, obviously this is something you really enjoy doing. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of introducing Americans to authentic Italian cuisine and culture through, of course, Mercato Italiano? Are there any memorable interactions or stories that really particularly stand out to you? I know you mentioned when they say, "Oh, I feel like I'm in Italy," but are there anything? Is there anything else in particular?
Okay, so yeah, I remember this one when I opened Mercato Italiano, and like everyone here, I was taking the door close because it's very hot here, you know. So you need to take it in condition. And then I was feeling that no one was coming. I mean, no, like the number I was thinking. And almost the people, they stay on the window and look inside because they are curious. So and then now I start to open the door because in Italy all the shops are with the door open, and then people start to come inside and see, oh wow, look here, I didn't know there was a place like this on before. Because I'm trying to don't advertise, you know. You don't see me on the TV, on the radio. No, I don't like advertise. I like word of mouth, because the
Okay,
word of
yes,
mouth
that's very powerful.
is a yes, it's powerful because you can just get to the best
Yeah,
people.
no, absolutely, yeah. Because if somebody's satisfied, they're going to tell everybody about it. They had a great experience. And that is extremely powerful. Valerio, I know your time is valuable. I don't want to keep you too long, but I just have one last question, if you don't mind.
No, no, nice.
What advice would you give to people who are looking to blend their passions into successful ventures, kind of like how you did, with food, hospitality, and photography? So, what is the advice you would give?
The advice: be always positive, like I said before. And then when there is somebody block you, don't give up. You know, because if you give up, you start from a zero again. So you need to see how you can cross this limit, and then you see that the future is gonna be with you.
Be positive and don't give up. Words of wisdom. Thank you very much, Valerio. And how could people reach you, or I guess your store? What's the website? I'm going to put everything in the show notes anyway. But if you want to tell the website so everybody could go on and check it out.
Robert, thank you very much to having me here. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Yes, Mercato Italiano is in downtown Naples. The website is www.mercatoitalianousa.com.
Okay, mercatoitalianousa.com. I'm definitely going to include that in the show notes. Again, thank you very much, Valerio, for your time. I appreciate this conversation. I think we talked about a lot of good things, so it was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you for joining me on this journey through the stories of authentic Italian cuisine. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more insights and interviews. Also, feel free to reach out with your thoughts or questions on our social media channels at Stop Italian Sounding or on our website, stopitasounding.com. Grazie a tutti e alla prossima.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.